And we are live. Welcome everybody from all over the world for episode 28 already of this Motivation and Inspiration Live Club. In short, Motivation Club. Can you raise a hand to check if you are hearing me well? And then we can get on our way. Once again, people from Switzerland, Arizona, Seattle, UK, Canada, a lot of places. It's raining and windy. Belgium isn't that good either now, so I hope some people, at least some of us, have a nice gentle sun. So let's get started. We've got a lot to think about today because a year has passed, and I thought for the final session of this year, a good moment to recap what you have done this year, how do you feel about it, how do you want to continue, and how does continuing your journey work towards your biggest goals, your biggest dreams, your first dreams. That's what we have on the menu. This path, this can change all the time. You might be playing for a few years already and think what I want now is different than what I wanted when I started. It could be that it's still firmly the same. It could be that you are approaching some goals and not sure how to continue. Either way, everybody has to set and reset some goals, but probably we're still working towards the same North Star. We'll be looking back at ourselves, how can we assess, and I will be referring to one of my previous sessions. And we'll check out some stuff, how to keep this fun, how to keep motivated, how to create this intrinsic motivation within yourself to continue, to have the drive to be in that flow. And that flow is something very important. Everybody can hear me well, and that's great. So, most things have a beginning, so does your guitar playing. And it was probably a very nice dream that you had. And don't be ashamed. It's not silly. You might still be a beginner, but you always dreamed of playing in a band or playing in front of people or being able to put music to text you already right. Could be a lot of things, and none of those things are silly because it's very personal, it's very deep. And one of my goals when I coach people is to get people in touch with that goal again, to to feel, yes, I can actually do this. It will take some time, but the journey towards it will be rewarding. I'll pick up a lot of things, and my journey might go a whole different way than I imagined, but I'm still working towards this certain dream. For me, that was uh, as a boy, I thought, whoa, being in a band and being on stage, that must be real fun. But I kind of locked away that dream at a certain time, and I thought, that's not realistic. I need to have a normal life and have a normal situation, a normal job. But turned out you can do both. Of course, you can do both. So I work towards those goals, and I'm still realigning my goals, not completely resetting, but aligning those and still working towards what I want to do, which is playing live and performing in front of people. So it is possible. It is not silly. It is something very deep, and I respect everyone's goal. And the fact that you guys are here today, that at least means that you have a certain goal and you want an efficient way to get there, but also a fun way, also a way that you can keep track of, a way that you can keep on doing and get energy from. Because all your goals, they are valid. They're not set in stone, but they are valid. They are good goals. They're good ideas. Some might be very ambitious. Some might be less ambitious, but they are always nice. And many of them, if we would combine all of your goals together, have some common milestones, some stuff in common. And the more you go to the front of the journey, the more goals you have in common, the more things you need to get under your belt, being able to build upon that and keep on building this pyramid of skills and experiences. But as you progress, as you go through a certain learning curve of playing guitar, you get on plateaus and you get on points where there's a fork in the road, what do I need to do first? Do I need to do this or this? Do I need to do both? Do I need to do them in parallel? These are all good questions, and these are some of the questions that I received preceding this session. So, do I need a plan? Well, I am not your mom. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Do you need a plan to succeed? No. Does making a plan help? Yes. Does that need to be a complex plan? No. You can make it as simple as complex as you want, and I'll show you some ways to come up with all things that should be in this plan. Not how should it look like, how should I structure it, not exactly that, but some parts you can get to. So first I want you to put on an emotional perspective, your emotional glasses. When you look back at the year that has passed, even if you only start playing this year and you haven't played for a full year, it doesn't matter. 25 is about to pass. And how do you feel about it? Do you still feel as invigorated as when you first took your first steps? Do you still think it's fun? Have you learned new songs? How do you feel about those songs? Did you do some performances? How did they go? How did it make you feel? Do you want to do more performances after this? Do you want to do better performances after this? Did you meet new people thanks to music? Did you do some networking, or you met some people online, or other musicians, stuff like that? Were there certain discoveries that you made? And also, what did change this year? Did you undergo a certain change in mentality, or did your goal already change? What if you would think back more in a sentimental perspective? I ask you to put on this emotional perspective. Did you notice a certain change, and what was this? Did it have value for your journey or not? Or how did you go about with it? What did you do with it? What did you learn from it? Um, some might not even have undergone some changes in an early stage, or maybe over several years, and it's not noticeable what the change was. It's not that important, but I do hope that all of you feel this is net positive. There will be some less pleasant things like sore fingers, or a gig that went sideways. We all been there, by the way. That's how we learn. Um, but I hope it was a net positive year for you when it comes to music, and that's already a win. Consider that a win and cherish that. It's important to have that as a foundation when you go take your rational view and go select some things that are important to you. So feel what the value was of that, and acknowledge what have you reached. Did you learn certain songs? Did you learn new chords? Did your strumming and your rhythm improve? Which is very important because rhythm is king. Yes, very important. So, what are these achievements? And make sure that you list them. Make sure that you be thankful for those. It sounds a bit fluffy, but you should always start and end with something sentimental and warm. Um, And as you start thinking about it, you will encounter some stuff that wasn't that perfect, and nothing will be. But embrace that imperfection. Always be wary of perfectionism. It will halt your progress. And it doesn't really fit the iterative way that I try to get you to learn things, to learn songs, to layer them, to make them, to start something very basic, not perfect, basic, and start building upon that. Um, so embrace that imperfection. And next year will be a fresh start to turn fails into opportunities. A year is something very arbitrary. It's 365 days and a bit to circle around the sun, but we call it days and we number them. But you can plan or look ahead in any period as you want. It all depends on you want to look at it. and they don't need hard goals and hard set goals and hard set times. But I think it's a good chunk of time to have a moment like this and set and reset your goals. Look back on it, be grateful, and see where your path is going. So a year is nice. Um, what are those opportunities? And I especially write opportunities because I want to refer to session 13, which was a similar topic as this one. Set your guitar goals. And session 13 was also recorded, and you can look that up on the Justin Guitar website. And in this recording, you will find an expanded explanation of how the SWOT analysis works. It is analyzing for yourself what are my strengths, my weaknesses. It speaks for itself. There's also opportunities and threats. And what are opportunities? These are harder to define, because opportunities are the things you think, what would be things for me next year that I can take up that because of circumstances are suitable for me. As in, an opportunity would be I found out that my neighbor is a drummer. This opens up opportunities. Let's start some jamming, start a little band perhaps. Perhaps for you, the biggest hurdle is reaching out to this person and start networking and bringing up the topic. That can be a hurdle for people. I respect that. So that can be a part of those opportunities and victories that you can book. But also that you might have noticed that you kind of like fingerpicking. I did a little exercise and it went okay, and I found it really fun, and it was really rewarding to hear myself play. That could be an opportunity. And Ellen says, I am glad my neighbor, oh, isn't the drummer. Well, that's an opportunity as well. Um, it can be a lot of things. So check out this session for, I'm not going into deep now. What I will say is that there's also threats, of course. What can be threats? Typically, bad habits. If you build upon a bad habit, it will make it only harder and harder to unlearn it. So make sure that you be wary of bad habits. If you're not sure, ask feedback. It's always good to involve people, to share things, and to ask feedback. I will be repeating this line again in this session, 100% sure, because reaching out is not so intuitive to ask feedback on everything you can imagine, but reaching out and sharing it really helps. Okay. What's also in this session 13 is mind map exercise. How to explore your inspiration, starting from a central theme and the topics you have been working on or want to be working on, and splitting them up in smaller pieces, breaking them down in smaller pieces, in subtopics, in more subtopics. You have one central year around that, in the first circle, major topics like music theory, chord work, songs, stuff like that, and you can split them up further and further on. How to do this exercise also in session 13. So if you want to do a serious self-assessment on where you are right now, check out session 13 in the archive of the live clubs. If you want more information on this, anytime mail me at leven at JustinGuitar.com, and I'll provide you some info and links on that. Or perhaps we can set up a session where we can where I can coordinate yourself through these steps. All right. So, as I said, I am not your mom. This is your path. You're owner of it. You decide how it looks like, where it goes, and what you want to do with it, and when you want to change it. I will be just giving out some ideas, some handouts, as in how to approach that. So make sure I'm not preaching on how to do that. This is an inspiration session. You take from this what you think is valuable for you, apply it as you think it's useful, and be owner of that. I think that's an important part of making some kind of plan, the concrete or vague it is. being owner of it and having it shaped yourself is an important part of it. So now we take the same recap, but we turn on the more rational perspective. We'll be a bit more critical on about what you did. What of those things you did were okay, perhaps, but could have been done better? Or should you be doing something more, like practicing your rhythm more, learning a few more songs, um, spending more time, or doing more sessions, like trying to play every day? Should you be doing things differently, sooner, perhaps? Stuff like that. Check out what you've done, and if you could improve it or drop it or add stuff to it, what would those things be? So a bit more rational view now. And before I continue, I'd like to add a little word from our sponsor. Oh, that's so cool! I could say that, a little word from our sponsor. Now, until December 11th, Justin has a very sweet sweepstake running. This is not a competition where you have to play, have to be the best guitar player. No, this is a sweepstake. If you enter, you have a chance to win just as everybody else. And there's some very cool and very rare Wish You Were Here merch to win, because the song turns 50. And the idea is the following: you learn the intro, you record it, and you upload your take, and you have your chance of win some of this unique merch, of which there's a very unique Wish You Were Here, a fire extinguisher, because of the cover art, if you don't know that. Only 150 were made, so that would be a really unique piece that you can win. Deadline is December 11th. The link is in the slide deck. I shared this in the session here before, but allow me, I will copy paste the link in the chat. Like this. For all technical details, check out the campaign page that I linked to. I'm not going to answer too much questions about this here, but make sure that you check it. Some very cool prizes to win. Okay, let's continue, because we are always short in time. You might be resetting some goals. You might have done the session last year, made a self-assessment, set some goals, what topics you want to touch. But things could have changed. You might have joined a band. You might have changed music taste. You might have discovered certain techniques. You might have enrolled yourself into the Blim program, stuff like that. So maybe some resetting is necessary. And I think there is a hierarchy in goals. By that I mean, remember the dream you had. You performing in front of people, or you sitting on your porch feeling free to express yourself in music, and being able to play what your heart tells you to do, which I think is a very noble goal to pursue. Joining a band, stuff like that. Remember those things. You might be ashamed to tell other people, but you can always tell me. But that is somewhere far along the horizon. It can feel like it, and I can imagine, especially when you're starting out, it feels like, how am I going to get there? You'll get there in steps. And like any travel plan, think of Lord of the Rings and Frodo taking the ring to Mount Doom. They were going to walk in a straight line to Mount Doom, but they didn't do that. They had to change their plan along the way as things changed, events happened. Your environment can change, you can change, but you always have that North Star to follow. And having some strategies to follow will prove themselves elastic enough and wide enough to fit in some tactics, and some tactics perhaps will get less attention later on, or even more, or some will get into there, but they still be valid, and your strategies will always work to work in that direction. And the more experience you get along the way, and the more you have built upon your pyramid, the easier it will become to select your path and you make your choices along the way. Oh, a little fast. Then there's the midterm goals strategy. I made a little mistake here. It's defined by a strategy you want to follow, and by strategy I mean some main guidelines to follow that are a check for you to take what you want to do, hold it against the light that is your strategy, and you think, does this suit my strategy? Does it help? Does it deliver value that gets me a step forward in this direction? That might mean there's certain tactics you will have, but and your strategy might split up a bit. You might have to merge some things. But in most cases, that won't change too much over the years. And each strategy will be a nice hanger for you to hang tactics on. I will show you what these tactics and these strategies are. You need a good example because it's a bit abstract what I'm telling you right now. And these tactics that you will hang up on each strategy, they will define the categories of your practice routine. Because we often see the question pass, what should I practice? How much should I practice? How many different things can I practice? Is this too much? Should I focus on something? How wide should I go? Well, that should be the result of an exercise that I'm going to show you. And it's not up to us to say we're not your mom. It's not up to us to say how the schedule should look like, what the categories should be. They will speak for themselves as soon as you thought out a little of your own plans. So that's what I said here. And working on these tactics, you will be able to define some milestones, like learning certain songs, learning an amount of songs, learning a shape in a scale, learning a chord shape like E bar shape, for example, and learning what does that mean. That's not only learning how to put your fingers down, but also doing changes to other chords, keeping your rhythm going, using it in songs. Perhaps later on, that it's a good basic foundation. But if you have other tactics in other fields, they need this foundation to build upon. Like you can do embellishments of the E-shaped bar if you don't know how to play that shape. Of course, it speaks for itself, but this decides the order of which things are coming. Oh, this is going too fast. So we'll be doing a bit of a plotting exercise here. By this I mean if you start all the way on the beginning on this big goal of yours, you start breaking it up in smaller pieces. How do we eat the elephant? By cutting it in little pieces. That's something we say in Dutch. So break it down in pieces. And doing this will already render some inspiration on what things to do. And it starts to become a bit of a brain dump. You'll encounter other ideas. Make sure you write them all down. This is an exercise you should be doing on paper, something that makes you register really fast. You can do this on paper. These days, what works really well is dictating to a phone or to a Google Drive document and dumping it all in all terms and not worrying too much about formatting, because you can throw it into a ChatGPT or something else and ask it to format it for you. And this can be a real quick, real fast way to dump these ideas. But it might lack some structure. And it might you might need that in the beginning because of this. Hello, Carlos, you're late, but don't worry. This is recorded. You can check it from the beginning. So feel free to join in. And we're about to check out how to approach some high level goals and break them down in smaller things, because this is exactly what creates this nice hierarchy, this pyramid of things. Imagine your long-term goals would be playing live shows with a band, being able to freely express myself with music, and perform in front of people. Three very, very noble, very fun, very fulfilling dreams to chase, I think. So, all very valid, yes. But you might notice something. You might notice that if you would put these on a timeline, they come in a certain order. That doesn't mean you have to put them in a sequential line, because what we're doing here is not entirely sequential. We're not doing one thing, finishing it, and then doing the other thing. We're combining, we're working in a few swim lanes here. But you might have noticed that being able to freely express yourself is a first step to performing in front of people. And being able to perform in front of people will enable playing live shows with a band. You can, if you think so, you can switch those two around, but this seemed logical to me. So I wrote it on a timeline like this. You first start to work on the expression thing, being able to express yourself through songs, and very basic, that could be being able to play the songs, perhaps sing with these, and as we said in previous sessions, basic versions. And then working on how to be more expressive in them. And then later on, taking that to a band or starting a band perhaps. But you notice that it is no sequential line. While you take up a next step, you're still refining the previous one. You're still getting better and better in being able to express yourself. And it will serve playing in front of people like a solo gig, but it will also serve playing in a band, and so on. So that's already a first example that one goal can be supportive for the next one, can be a layer in your pyramid, and it kind of dictates is a rough word, but indicates that the expression part might be something to start sooner than the performance part, if you feel like it, because I am not your mom, but I think this is intuitive. Going to the next slide. This is an example. On the right side, I put these long-term goals, and now we're working in the midterm. What, if we break this down, what are the things that we need to do to support these as pillars? What are the strategies that we think we need to follow? What would our strategy be? And one of them is build a repertoire. Get songs under our belt, have a set list, have things that you can perform. That's an excellent strategy. Another strategy is making songs your own, doing all different tactics that fit into making songs your own. What would all those things, could they be? Becoming a performer, what does that mean? And notice that I try to start these blocks with verbs, followed by a noun as much as possible. Doing something to become this, or developing to do that, stuff like that. A performer, what does that mean? Because if I want to perform in front of people, I want to express myself. If I want to play live shows, I need to be able to perform. So becoming a performer is part of a strategy, to part of those pillars to support this little triangle at the top. Expanding our knowledge, it is still pretty vague, but it will serve these goals. It will serve these goals. So, building a network also supports these. And you can start to connect your strategies with your goals. And the more lines you can draw like this, the more solid your plan is. The more you can be sure that there's so much connection here. I'm on the right track. But what do I miss? What are some of these other things that I might be missing? And on what level are they? Are they more like, if I would say, learning learning the E-shaped bar, then they do not belong in strategies. They are more a tactic. I'm going to learn as much as things around evolving around the E bar shape, because you can do a lot of things with it. You can play rhythm with it. You can use them as a reference, the chord notes for your improvisation. You can use them as a base to build flavors upon. We did a lot of sessions on this to create different flavors of a sim. So they're all different tactics within this thing. So um, when you come up with new things, put them down on like post-its on a wall or something digital. It doesn't really matter. At a certain point, you have to create an order in them. And as you see, these strategies, they're still pretty abstract. They're still pretty open to interpretation. They're not tightly scoped. There can be some overlaps, and that's okay. A bit of ambiguity is all good. But you notice that becoming a performance serves your performing in front of people, of a band, building repertoire, mainly uh, performing in front of people, but that serves the live band again. The knowledge and making songs my own helps in the expression, uh, to be able to express yourself in music. And um, I've chosen these three goals here because those are the common denominators when I coach people and I get questions. Most goals evolve around those topics, and almost all of the time it's more it's a lot more, of course, but these strategies, they echo towards working these goals. It's not a completely random idea. It's not a random plan at all. But if you go a step further and we focus on the part, um, being able to freely express yourself. So there were two strategies that we could connect to this goal: making songs your own, being in control. Remember how important that is. Being in control of the song. What does that mean? Um, and expanding your knowledge. Your knowledge will help you in coming up with ways to express yourself, that you don't have to do a lot of random things and sifting through them, knowing what's going on. You do that a bit, but being able to start from some good knowledge makes you start already halfway instead of doing only random stuff. Making songs your own, what are some tactics that fit into this? Well, layering your songs, being able to come out with an MVP of a song real soon and building layers upon that. That is gaining control of this song. Um, Being able to add embellishments. Remember, this is a tactic. This can involve some stuff, some more detailed topics, but embellishments in general, they will help making songs my own. Creating kind of format to learn new things. Um, Here, the tactics can also be working around certain songs, use them as a platform, like Hotel California in this example, learning Hotel California. That sounds like a very concrete goal, but I consider a song as something as more than just a checkbox. I learned this song. No, a song is a platform to do things, and I'll get back to that. Transposing songs is a combination of making songs your own and expanding your knowledge on how to do this. This is a knowledge topic, but it will help making songs your own. So, two connections, extra strong, so certainly useful. Learning the A shape bar and improvising in one A minor pentatonic shape, for example. Those are tactics that you will fill with some really concrete SMART goals later on. Session 13 also talks about SMART goals. What are SMART goals? Each letter stands for something, and one of those things is the M of measurable. And the measurable goals, we haven't talked about them yet because they are even a level deeper. Um, when I say improvising in A minor pentatonic, it's a tactic. Um, but a measurable goal would be um, being able to go up and down in one shape. Another one could be being able to play random notes in one shape. And you can even define those more in detail and say being able to play random notes in one shape at least 16 notes per minute, for example. Very measurable, concrete, measurable. But all these things I mentioned, they come in a certain order of difficulty, and they all fit into improvising in an A minor pentatonic, because first you need to learn the shape, then you need to be able to become expressive within it, and that might be the moment you have to evaluate is this still a tactic for me, or at this moment is it more of a strategy, and do I need to fill in with things on the same level? And remember, that will define the categories in your practice schedule later on. So some tips here when doing this exercise. You can imagine being in front of some or a lot of papers. Um, Try to break it up in smaller goals where possible, but try to put them in these levels of strategies. How many strategies do I have? How many goals do I have? I already listed 3 goals. Um, it could be just one goal, and that's okay. You don't need, you won't be a better guitarist if you have more goals. Absolutely not. You won't be a better guitarist if you have defined more different strategies. No. You just need to see a broad pyramid form in it. I think that's how it works. So work on a big paper, the most stereotypical stock image you can find about doing workshops is the glass window with the post-its on it. I think this is one of the applications where it applies, where this really can help this kind of working. So you can try that with post-its. You can put them on the ground as well. They won't fall off, because the fashion how you take off the post-it will decide whether your post-it will stick on the wall or not. I think there's a science behind that. Or try a digital tool and you already capture it in a digital way. If you have no inspiration, try to look up some brain dump methods. Like I said, with the telephone, there's some other things as well. And try to come up with everything that you can think of and write everything down, no matter how big or how small, how defined. Write them all down, and later on you will group these in teams. And okay, and you can park the low priority stuff as well. Don't be worried about writing down too much things or things that matter less. You can always park them or throw them away later. It's easier to wipe out the scratch than to come up with new things. So don't worry about that. One of the questions I got is it better to learn songs to practice a skill or do specific exercises, or do I mix? Very good questions, because I believe that songs are an excellent platform. Songs will work for technique, and techniques will work for the song. Songs will work for theory, and the theory will work for the song. Not only because songs are fun to play and these are the actual products, the actual things that we will be performing for people when we are finding ways to be free and express ourselves, to be performing in front of somebody, or to be in a band. We're still working with songs, so this is a very strong entity, a very important entity as a musician, the entity song. So, working songs within songs, but also next to songs, I think it's a good idea to balance them, to mix this. Um, let's say 50-50, but that's something you need to feel yourself. But doing this mix, I think, is a very good idea. It was a very smart question to check out whether you should only be doing these songs or specific exercises. Always try to find opportunities within songs. Maybe songs you already know, maybe songs you are starting to learn. What are the things you are working on? Um, does the song feature certain chords, but you're also working on bar chords? There's an opportunity. There's an opportunity to change out some open chords and exchange them with the bar chord versions. You will learn new places to play this, but you will, in the meantime, learn to do changes to the bar chords in a very real fashion, real context, being a song. But you will always be practicing the song as it is. How does it sound? I'm playing it. How does it sound? You will get familiar to the chords, and meanwhile, you're memorizing it. So do both. Some exercises are best also practice away from the song in a very small mechanical fashion to train your muscle memory, because you can break it down in smaller pieces, especially as I discussed in previous session about singing and playing together. You need to practice these things separately as well. You can bring them all together if you haven't internalized the separate parts as well. If you get more experience, this gets easier to do. You can grab a song and start playing and singing it right away. But in the beginning, you need to train these things separately. And for techniques, it's just the same way. Doing just this one thing, doing it slowly, recording it, checking it out later so that you can focus just on listening, and only that will bring out more mistakes than you heard while you were playing. I'm absolutely certain of this because I notice it myself when I record songs that I play and I think, well, it was okay. And then you listen, this wasn't good. This was a bit flat, stuff like that. You don't hear those things when you're actually doing it. You're already occupied with so much things. So yes, in this question, make a balance of practicing it within songs, finding opportunities in songs to practice it, but also practice them in little mechanical ways and try to approach it from as many perspectives as you can imagine. Um, from within a song is only one perspective, of course, in that way, but playing it slower, playing over a metronome, playing over a drum, changing its feel, changing the genre. Is it a certain technique? Try to write different licks while you're learning this technique. Meanwhile, you'll come up with licks that you want to write down in your little lick library. So opportunity there. Um, I've said that word several times, and it's not easy to spot an opportunity. But if they arise like this, and you do this more, you will train yourself in spotting these opportunities. Excellent. So songs as a platform, not because of this question, because I already prepared this little part before I got the question, but it fits so nicely. That's perfect. It works in two ways. For example, in the list was Learning Hotel California. And this is how a song in a certain perspective can be an opportunity, because it can help, it can be a platform to improvise over the progression in the minor pentatonic. And I put X minor pentatonic because on the left is transposing songs. Excellent tactic, because you need to fit it to your voice, the way you want to play it, which chord voicings do you like. That will determine the key, and the key will determine in which minor pentatonic key you want to go improvise. So X minor pentatonic could be A, B, C, whatever. Um, learning a song format, learning a format for yourself to memorize songs. Want to know more about this? Check out the memorizing song sessions. I think it was session 20, but I'm not sure. Adding layers to song technique that we also discussed. And below Hotel California, there's learning the A-shaped bar, because in many versions you want to play it, you need this. You need to learn the A-shaped bar to be able to do embellishments on this shape. So you see that there is also relation within these tactics. In our first example, they were all in neat lines. On the right side are goals, and then our strategies and our tactics. But you see that you first need to learn the A-shaped bar in able to do A-shape embellishments. But you can do open chord embellishments as well. So that could be a first step while you learn this A shape. And you know, I'm learning this A shape not only to learn the shape, but also to enable me to build these embellishments. And each embellishment type has certain flavors, and that's the thing in the corner on the left. You have major shape, the A major shape, or the A minor shape, the E major shape, the E minor shape. You can do some embellishments on that. So this example shows you how even tactics can be related. And doing this exercise helps you breaking down, because here I broke down into embellishments, yes, but I can do embellishments on open chords, on E shape, A shape, and then I thought of, oh, there are in each shape different flavors. So quickly you start to branch out, and you start to do an exercise that starts to look like a mind map. Yes, the difference is you could have made a mind map before with all those topics. There will be a lot on it that you might think it's interesting, but they're not in the structure that you're building right now. If you would put them next to each other and you see where the overlap is, then you know, oh, these are the things that I found interesting, and these are the things that serve my goals. Those are very good, those are very valid things to take in my plan. There will be things in your plan that perhaps you haven't thought of in your mind map, and there will be stuff in your mind map that might be less important to you right now, or make you think, I do need that to support this strategy that I want to do, or I'm convinced that I need to do that. So they can look a bit like each other, and the overlap will be pretty strong. So remember, this is not one big linear structure. Um, the end result of this exercise is not to have a sequential line of items lined up like a big train. Just like we don't learn a song that way, same is for goals. Same is for this, the tactics that fill up your strategies. You will be working on several tactics at once, because as you just saw, they also have connections among each other. They are not sequential things as well. So when I get the question, what should I do first? The easy answer is a bit of everything at once. And that's because of those relations. But you can find some focus in them. What serves my goals best? And as you go further on, as you said, these tactics, they fit in this strategy. And this strategy, it supports working towards my goal. Then you have a few continents to go to reach your North Pole. You still have them. There's still a lot of wiggle room to shift a bit, to put other things in there, to make some overlaps. So know that you're making a network of things that have a rough pyramid feel, but they are no linear single file thing that you are putting in a certain order. So what does go first? That's the natural next question, of course. And these relations, they will give you an indication. They will make you think, oh, in able to do this, I need to work on this first. If I want to be able to express myself with bar chords, then I need to be able to learn them first. Okay, stuff like that. What bar chord should I learn first? And the typical one is an E bar shape, for example. So there, you have to figure out what serves what follows what, and making these connections will already give you a good indication of that, even if you don't feel like a specialist. Because I will tell you one thing: the fact that you are here and you're working on this makes you a musician. If one ever asks, "Are you a musician?" Yes, yes, you are. There is no condition. Yes. Okay. Many connections. Do you see many connections between those boxes? I think that's an important one. That is an indication. This is becoming more of a node uh, to work with. This could be a tactic, and perhaps even a full strategy where you have to house a lot of things and file them under some categories called tactics. Um, and that's why I said songs are such a strong entity. There's so much connected to songs to do that. Do you think it's a priority but still far away in the steps you want to go? That's okay. Try to break it in smaller pieces and trying to find out which of those pieces is closest to where you are right now. Because in the SMART goals, you also encounter another letter, the letter R, which is realistic. And which goals are well for you? Stuff to on the smallest, more granular level, are the goals that are a challenge for you, but close to the skill level you are right now. And it's better to have 10 small goals that way, that follow each other, because they will be very measurable and it will be easy to put them in a certain order. Then have one goal that is really hard, like playing a scale at a certain BPM, and you will give up halfway because you're not working with little steps going there. So try to break that in smaller pieces. I also got a question. When do I know enough of a topic to move to the next stage? I get this question a lot, and with what I just told you, you should have the realization that there are more paths along your network to go to. So if you find you're going a bit slower on one topic, you're still working on other topics meanwhile, and will they will pull you forward, because if you work on just one thing, it might demotivate you and slow you down, while the opportunity to gain momentum for your intrinsic motivation in other parts was there, but you didn't use it. That would be a terrible waste. You should try to maintain a forward momentum, and if you find that something goes slower or frustrates you, don't give up on it, but try to find shorter practice time with that, but more frequently, even if that means um, trying it 2 or 3 times in the same practice session. That's okay, but spreading it out over more days, shorter things, having your brain to making the storage and sleeping and doing the recall and trying it again, refining it. This repetition serves your long-term memory, especially for muscle memory exercises. Um, if you're not sure that you know enough of it, don't worry, you're already working on other things. You're already going on that, and don't, because it gives you some doubts, don't give up on that, but keep working on that. And um, the stuff that you learn in the other tactics will enrich this part, Meanwhile, you are still having this good forward momentum. You still got that speed. It will feed back to your intrinsic motivation. And you will assure yourself that this topic will be dragged along. So don't be afraid of not knowing enough if you have enough topics on your practice schedule, and those topics are the tactics. Luxie says, I must respond. I absolutely do not feel it. But yeah, um, I didn't feel it either when the first years that I played. So I'm here to tell you. In this case, I'm your father, and I tell to you, you're a musician. So it's hard to measure sometimes. You can easily measure the amount of songs that you learn. You can not so easily measure how successful you are networking right now. So if it's hard to measure, try to break down in smaller steps. Once again, often the answer is try to break it down in smaller steps. That's the same thing they do in professional settings where they do agile working with stories. If it's hard to define, when it's done, break it down in smaller stories. Same thing here. Building a network that could be a lot of things. It could be joining a community, participating there, sharing stuff there, but also attending live sessions, not only in a community but in your neighborhood, going to see music acts, talking to a sound engineer there on open mics, trying to become a part of of a little open mic community, stuff like that. Break it down in smaller pieces, and it will be easier to put checks if there are smaller goals, and it will be easier to see, oh, this enabled this enabled me to do this now, and this enabled me to do this now. It's a bit of gamification. So it's not easy to plan a whole year, but that's why I said try to measure the past year. How did it make you feel? We started the session with this. Then the rational part. How would you score certain elements in there when it comes to what? Now that you know what these strategies and these tactics are, which one did you pursue? Which one would you add? How would you redefine it? And adding those smartest goals to the absolute smallest, most granular level, like I said, um, like the amount of notes in the scale that you can play per minute, how many chord changes you can do. Those are real measurable things, and you can create goals that are close to your current skill level, but still a challenge. And a year, it's no hard deadline. Um, it could be any kind of period. You can put it aside a few months and decide on random moments. Oh, I'm going to recap. I'm going to grab that. I'm going to see, oh, I was so silly back then thinking that I would be in 3 months, stuff like that. Or I would be doing this in a year. Or this is going a lot better than I thought it was. By all means, adapt your plan, your goals as much as you want. There is no pay attached to these things. It's only to yourself, and it's only a way to make it easier for you to decide this looks interesting. Should I be doing it or not? Check your strategies, check your tactics. Does it fit within these verbs that you have written down? Does it fit? Yes, no, maybe. It's an indication of how valuable this will be for you. As long as you feel the progress, as long as you find a way to find inspiration on how to set these goals, how to define. If you only got a rough plan of 20 words in front of you and that says it, a simple plan is easier to follow, and you don't really have to follow your plan, but it can be your paper coach. It can be the thing. What does a coach do? A coach asks questions, and looking at this paper, it will be asking questions to you. Are you building your repertoire? Are you making songs your own? Yes. Well, how are you making songs your own? Well, by doing this and this and this. What could improve making songs your own? Ah, by doing this and this more and adding this and this. Oh, look, that's your paper being your coach. Whatever works for you, that's the message here. I'm not your mom. I'm trying to give you inspiration on how to think on their far away is uh, perhaps a silly goal, but it's no longer silly. This is why I'm playing music. So let's define the steps going there. Like, you're going to climb Everest, you're going to the North Pole. Okay. Through which continents do we need to go? How do we tackle each continent? That's different countries. What do we need to do to go through each country? Okay. And if we do that and we're halfway, we'll see again. Works for you, works for me. So find your flow. What does that mean, flow? Flow is something magical. Flow is the moment you're doing something and everything feels effortless. Time flies by. You gain energy by doing it, and doing it is the reward. But you get things done so quickly, you feel like in a few hours you did what otherwise would have taken you a week because of procrastination or whatnot. And the silent critic within you is silent. You cannot hear him or her. You're just doing this thing and it's going great. So where do you find this flow? Once again, this flow is connected to the SMART goal principle, where what you're doing is close to what you can do, but it is still a challenge. It is so close, you can almost smell it. So, like an animal, you are making your pounds. You took your time to get closer, but you're making your pounds to this, and you get into this flow, a half an hour to several hours, and bam, you're on it. You have clear goals. You have a certain scoped vision in front of you. This is my prey. Bam, you pounce. And often it helps to have certain rituals to go with that. Certain rituals, like, for me, it's going to my coffee machine, turning it on. It needs to warm up a bit. I start thinking about, I plan to do this. I will be doing this. I will be grabbing my coffee. I will be sitting down, and I imagine, I envision, I project, like when I'm performing. Remember the live performing sessions that we did? I will be doing this and this and this, and I will achieve this. By that time, my coffee machine is ready. I press the button, coffee comes out. It's like a charging meter for me. Grab my coffee, and I start. This is part of a habit of getting into this zone. I often refer to the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, because especially the first chapters are so valuable. They talk about stacking certain habits in an order to make the resistance lower. You you might hate doing something, but it becomes easier if you stack certain habits and you do the thing. You do the thing several times, and it gets easier. Same comes from same works for creating this flow state. It will not always work because external factors work upon you, but they help in ramping up to this flow state. So try to find what these are. Some of these routines, some of these rituals, I call them, also work well during live gigs to shake up nerves, to channel the physical implications of stage fright, stuff like that, reverting this energy into something positive, expressive. Very useful session, by the way. And still allow some. Yes, the book is called Atomic Habits by James Clear. There is an audio version for Spotify premium users that I know. I'm not paid to say this, but I know it because I checked it out there. Very, very useful for this. And an important thing is allow yourself to play. The playful nature is an important thing of this flow state. Yes, um, allow yourself to experiment. If you're in a flow, if things are going great, and you think I feel like playing this song, do it. Give into it. Um, you will be very expressive in this song. You will be free. You will be. It will be a lot easier to show your vulnerability, even if there's nobody there. But it will come out easier if you are in this flow state of mind. So if you're practicing and you feel like I'm in a good flow, but you suddenly feel the urge to play a certain song, give into it. It's okay. You still have time to reprise that practice later on. Don't worry. Find feedback. Something that can feed your motivation as well is involving people and share. Um, you won't lose anything by sharing it, especially today in the digital day and age. Sharing means creating a copy. You're not giving away something physically. You are putting out what you have made and it's still yours, but you involve people and you ask them for feedback, or you don't. But this feedback makes you a bit. They start a conversation with you. You start to network. You start to you get used to getting feedback. That's something you need to train as well. And as soon as you know how to appreciate every kind of feedback and how even to revert something that felt very negative to you, even that um, will make it easier on you to ask feedback, to get feedback, to process feedback, uh, and to set up this iterative loop, which is thinking and imagining something, then creating it, playing it, and then involving somebody to get feedback. With this, you go back to the think and imagine stage. Okay, uh, this feedback could also be self assessment, by the way. You can enrich it by self assessment or do self assessment for a while. Um, you take that back and you're a bit accountable to at least yourself. You can feel accountable to the person that gave you that feedback, but it's not necessary. You are not obliged. But it is useful information to make that thing better. How? Because that person said so? No. Person said, perhaps you could try to sing it in a slightly higher key because I think your voice will shine better. Okay, let's try that. Let's see what I didn't think of that myself. Let's see what it does. You record yourself because remember, recording will give full attention to just listening to what you did, so you'll be a better judge of that. And you thought, this is better. This also is an opportunity because now the chords are voiced differently and I can create that certain kind of embellishment that I couldn't do with these chord voicings. Once again, opportunity creeps in. Make sure that you spot it and grab it. So building these rituals, these stack of habits uh, works. And sorry, then it had to be practice, not practice. I'm a bad proofreader. And when I make this slide deck, I am in a flow, and I do it. I try to do it the same time with the same mindset, same part of the day. Um, I'm in a flow, and I'm a bad proofreader, so these sneak in. Um, Try to plan 5 minutes of practice every day, no matter what. If you can try to fit it in somewhere, and you play at least 5 minutes, and usually it's longer if you were planning to play an hour, plan an hour by all means, but try to plan at least 5 minutes. At least 5 minutes. They will become more, and I'd rather have you doing the same time spread out over the week every day and recall, refine, sleep over it, recall, refine, sleep over it. The magic is in this repetition. Listen and explore other people's music, especially if you want to approach certain songs. What do other people do with it? Grab some inspiration from them. Copy what you want. Do things differently. I would have done this instead of this. Okay, do it. Cool. And find some off guitar day stuff as well. Find some Um, you will have off days, but you will have days off the guitar as well. What do you do on these days? Perhaps try giving writing lyrics a go, or perhaps refining some of your goals, or try to find out some new songs to learn, stuff like that. Having a notepad somewhere close by always helps. And meanwhile, be kind to yourself. Very important. Remember why you are playing. Remember why this goal, no matter how far it is, why you do this, and you're getting closer to it every day. And meanwhile, you pick up very cool things to do. You experience very fun things, because a lot of value is on your way there. The classic cliche of the journey is the destination is absolutely true, because once you get closer to your long-term goal, you'll be thinking of new goals that are even far. You wanted to go to the North Pole, you're halfway there, and you're thinking about going to the moon. Absolutely. Your goal won't be set in stone, as said. So meanwhile, keep it fun, because you will never actually feel completely accomplished. This will not happen. Um, Somebody asks email. Well, if you need the email, I'll put it down here. It is Leven at JustinGuitar.com. There you are. So make sure that you put your questions there. Or do you want to plan a session with me to go over your goals? How does it work for you? Try to do this first yourself, and then check with me how you could form it. And me, my outsider perspective, can help you plug the holes. Um, So, meanwhile, after a while, consider revisiting your goals, um, perhaps keeping some kind of a journal, a checklist that gives a great sense of accomplishments. Find some graphic ways to work with that. Make it something fun. It could be part of your, if you're an artistic person, this can be a very fun thing to do. And consider seeking contact with a teacher or a coach just to check up on your progress, just to check up on your what your strategy is towards your goal. How do you feel this strategy? Does it make sense? It can be enough to combine the autodidact thing of learning, learning all yourself at home, but having somebody looking over your shoulder once and in a while, so you feel sure that you're not doing it completely wrong. Another question we had was, how do I maintain focus with all these distractions? Well, these things that you put on paper, um, it's okay to branch out. It's okay to explore these new things that get to you, but find out which of these things fit in my strategies. How far, how high, how deep along, how long do they fit in or not? And come back to them. It's okay to branch out and explore a bit. That's what it's all about, exploration, and opening yourself to new pathways that you might go to reach those goals. Perhaps you find a new way to you saw some really inspirational videos on people using the guitar as a percussive instrument, and you think this needs to become a part of me feeling free to express myself freely on a guitar. Well, try to incorporate this. How would, in the same level, in the same way, did you write down the other stuff? How would this relate to each other? Draw these relations again. It's okay. It's not only a distraction, it is also an opportunity. Once again, to remind you, don't forget the very awesome sweepstake that is going on for the Wish You Were Here. I will just post the link one more time. I think it's really cool. I think you make a really good chance in winning something cool. So if you already know the intro, transmit it. It's a good opportunity. This is spot this opportunity. It's a good opportunity to give the song a go. There you go. So that's what I said earlier. Yes. Excellent question as well. How do I keep forgetting complex pieces? It is the repetition. Make sure you do not play them every day if you won't be playing them live anytime soon. It is not necessary, but having some kind of pattern of playing them once or twice a week and checking out how fast is it dropping off. Do I need to add repetitions or not? But have paced repetition going on with those things, and you won't forget. Because if you practice them for spread out for a while with a lot of sleep, stuff like that, then it will be quite ingrained in your permanent memory and it won't degrade that easily. But a softer version of that spread over time will maintain it. So it's already a quarter past. There's so much to talk about, but I'm going to go quickly through some of the comments here. Carlos says next year should teach us how to record ourselves. Okay, recording techniques and material is definitely a topic for next year. One of my students asked about this, and I came to the conclusion that I never really talked about this. What could be a basic setup? It doesn't need to be expensive. You already have a lot of gear, perhaps already, without even knowing it, that can help you. Very good idea, Carlos. We'll definitely take up that. Let's see if there are any. So the book name, we said that. Atomic Habits. Carlos says, am I a musician? Yes, you are. I'm not your mom, but I'm your dad saying that you are a musician. Because if you're doing stuff like this, if you're creating a plan, if you're making music, if you're planning ahead, it doesn't need to be all in little small boxes and very all very feasible and very realistic in the big fashion, as long as your small goals are. But if you're thinking about this and you want to become better, then yeah, you're definitely a musician. Absolutely. Okay. I went over those very quickly. If I missed something, I dropped my email. I will dropping it again. If there are any more questions, of course, you are free to go on the community. There is a topic for each of these sessions that you can ask your questions there. You can mail me at leven@justinguitar.com, and I will, to wrap up, add the link to this slide deck, which can remind you on how to approach this. I will post it there as well up. So if you have questions about it and you want to put up a little session, doing a one-off with me, it's all possible to check up your plan. But random questions, all good, all for free, to see what pops up when you start thinking about this. What are the main questions coming up? This session is recorded. It will be available again for you to watch again. And until next year, have some great holidays, whatever you are celebrating, as long as it is fun, warm, with family or not. Have a great start of the new year if I don't spot you on the community anymore. And see you next time. I hope I got your mayonnaise running and spinning. So grab a piece of paper and get busy. The new year, it's still big. It's a small month to go, so you have time to ponder on this, and you don't have to make this January 1st, of course, but it's already a good opportunity in some dead moments to start thinking about it. So make sure you check session 13 again to see what the whole SWOT analysis is about, what the whole SMART goals thing is about, and what the mind map is, and you will see it will complement this session nicely. See you next time, and Happy New Year to all.